1045 The Team and 1045theteam.com. On the phone with me right now is MLB Network Radio's and MLB on TBS, March Madness. He does everything. I don't know if the guy sleeps or not. It's Casey Stern joining us right now on the phone. Casey, the Yankees sending down Gleyber Torres. Is there any reason why Yankees fans should be a little discouraged by this?
No, I don't think so. They're the best team in that division, whether Torres is on the team or not. So I think to rush a player doesn't make any sense. I mean, they clearly don't care about whether or not there's control years down the road or any of that. So it has nothing to do with finances. So I think, they want to be careful. At the time that he's ready, they'll bring him up. Also, let's keep in mind he's changing positions, so I think that's something he can work on defensively in terms of, not only maybe second, but versatility around the infield. I like it for them because with the Neil Walker move specifically, the way that Wade had played, they don't really necessarily Andujar. They've got a lot of options. Obviously, Drury, who they brought in from Arizona. So to not bring up Torres now doesn't mean you won't see him down the stretch. I absolutely think he'll be a factor at some point.
You mentioned all those options at second and at third. Do you have any favorites of who the Yankees might choose at those two positions?
Well, I thought Wade had the job, to be honest with you, locked up. I thought Booney was going to take him at second. Then they made the Walker move. I don't think you bring in Neil Walker if he's not playing every day at second base. That's my own opinion. Doesn't necessarily have to happen. He could play some third. If Wade plays there, Wade, though, can move around the infield. I think that you'll end up seeing predominantly Walker at second and Drury at third, but I think, Wade and Andujar both have a case to obviously take some playing time. The one thing about that, though, is I don't know if you want, Wade or Andujar up at the big level if they're not going to play enough. You might want them getting seasoned and getting at-bats. Wade may be a better guy at the big league level because he's got some position versatility as kind of a utility guy, if you will. But I don't think you bring in Walker unless he's playing, so I expect to see Neil Walker every day.
Let's switch to the other New York team, the Mets. They have a contract issue with David Wright at the moment. Is he going to get the next Bobby Bonilla deal? I mean, that's the only way to get out of this terrible deal with David Wright, isn't it?
Well, I don't know what they're going to do with him, to be honest with you. It's a sad story. I mean, I've known David a long time. I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, at some point, he's going to have to be resigned to the fact that it's just not going to happen anymore. I don't think he's wanted to get there. He's a competitor. It's really an unfortunate, sad story. I think the financial end, obviously, from the standpoint of, money and versatility to pay free agents is something that we look at as fans, but the worst part of it is what happened to David. So I don't know necessarily what they're going to do. I think, the one thing I know about David is he cares about the organization a lot. I think he will have a job for life with this organization, assuming he doesn't want to go be on TV, which clearly I think we all know he could do tomorrow. I think they'll come to an agreement. I don't think this is going to be contentious. I think this will be something where both sides will get together and find a way to figure out what's both for him and for the team.
MLB Networks and MLB on TBS. It's Casey Stern on the phone with us right now. You're also doing March Madness, and Gods is a big Syracuse fan. I'm also a Syracuse fan, and I'm going to take the reins for Gods real quick. What does Syracuse need to do tonight?
They've got to be able to slow down Arizona State. I mean, look, ASU has had two completely different seasons. That's the interesting part about where you are with Arizona State is really their first half of the season, they were great. After that, not so much. They're a team that, to me is going to rely on their ability to shoot the basketball. I'm not sure necessarily that they're going to do it that well. The one thing with Syracuse is that their defense has really been the best part about them. They've got the 12th best opposing points per game in the country. I think Battle, Howard, and Brissett, the amount of minutes that they've played, they're all top 10 in Division I. Is that a factor late in the season? Was that a factor? I think clearly Battle may need to be the best player on the floor for them to win this game. But you got Jim Boeheim, which means you're always in it. And, no offense at all to the ironically, guy Bobby Hurley, who Jim faced as a player, a guy who knows certainly a thing or two about winning in the tournament. But you always go with Boeheim in these kind of games. Arizona State dealt with a lot during the course of the year. They didn't play nearly as well down the stretch. If they hit the three well, I think Arizona State moves on and wins this game. I think it's going to be the defense at the three-point line from Syracuse that's going to be the difference.
The investigations surrounding the NCAA tournament are still ongoing, and a number of NCAA teams that are in this tournament are part of this investigation. Do you think at all this investigation will maybe overshadow or take over the tournament at any point?
I don't think so. That said, I have Arizona playing Michigan State in the final, so if that's the case, it will definitely be a story. I don't think necessarily, though, overall, once the games start getting played, which they did last night, we didn't even mention it once. I don't think it comes up, to be honest with you. I think, if you're doing the game call of Arizona or Michigan State or Auburn, it may come up. But I hope not. I hope it comes down to basketball because, to me, a lot of these kids, they haven't done anything wrong. Their programs haven't done anything wrong, and this is their moment. Got to remember about college basketball. It's in the NBA playoffs where these guys are making millions of dollars and already there. These are guys who this may be their last game. You had a guy in Joel Hernandez last night. It was the NEC Player of the Year, Mid-Major Player of the Year, who had a terrible game, and that's the end. I mean, he's not going to go to the next level. He's not going to see another game like that. You're going to see a lot of those last kind of minute, senior kind of moments. I like when the NCAA tournament is about individual stories and positive stories, so I hope it doesn't have a cloud over the tournament.
And lastly, Casey, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Give me your Final Four teams.
My Final Four, Arizona, Michigan State, Gonzaga, and Villanova. DeAndre Ayton is by far, it's not even close, the best player in the country and will be the number one overall pick, and that's not a discussion. I think as long as Sean Miller doesn't get too cute and they keep it simple, stupid, and they hand Ayton the ball as much as possible, if their perimeter guys can shoot the ball well, I think Arizona is going to beat everybody. They won 22 of their last 26 games. They were the preseason number one before Riley Hawkins got hurt. They lost the first 3 games of the season. I think they're the best team in the country when they're doing what they're supposed to do, which is hand Ayton the ball, because there is no one on earth right now at the college level that could do anything with him defensively. So I like them, and I think Michigan State's the most talented overall team. They've got a ton of studs from Jackson and Bridges. They rebound the ball well. They shoot the ball well. They got good guard play, and they've got Tom Izzo, who is as good a coach as you're going to get in the tournament. So I've got Michigan State, Arizona. I don't think Virginia's going to get there. I think Nova has a chance to win the whole thing. And I think, the biggest crapshoot bracket is the one where Xavier is. I don't trust them, and I think Gonzaga is going to come out of that bracket beating Michigan in the Elite Eight.
Wow, that's the first. You're the first one I've heard that's actually taken Gonzaga going that far.
Yeah, I mean, look, nobody thought they'd get there last year either. They just always find a way to win, and I think they're a really good team. They shoot the basketball incredibly well. They got good inside play. And they've got a lot of kids that are starting to get better as the year wore on. I don't like the Big East. I mean, I used to love the Big East. I grew up a St. John's fan. So I don't think Xavier's, their level of competition is very high. So I think they're going to get knocked off. A lot of people have Michigan. I could see Michigan. Most people I know have either Michigan or Gonzaga getting there. I don't know anyone that has Xavier getting the whole way. So I think that's why, to me, I'm calling it the crapshoot bracket. But I am a believer in the Zags. I do think they're going to go to the Final Four.
And real quick, any big upsets you got going? A lot of people are picking Charleston over Auburn. You got some people taking Loyola Chicago over Miami. Is there any upset that you think is more likely to happen than not?
Yeah, I got 3. Loyola Chicago over Miami. I'm with that. New Mexico State winning in the first round. I've got New Mexico State winning the first 2 rounds. I have them winning their first round game and then beating Auburn to get to the Sweet 16. Wow. They're a really, really good team. And I think the easiest upset pick of the whole bracket is South Dakota State, who people don't know, but they will when they see them. And they can really score the basketball against Ohio State, who I think is one of the worst 5 seeds that we've seen in years. They are not a good basketball team. They did not play well down the stretch. They're way too up and down. I don't like them really at all, to be honest with you. So I think if you're looking for like kind of lock picks, I like Loyola, but the 2-12s I think win. And I got New Mexico State winning 2 games. Or New Mexico State in the first round, and I love South Dakota State over Ohio State.
Casey, thank you very much. Once again, you can watch Casey Stern on TBS the entire time during March Madness. He's got Arizona and Michigan State going all the way. Let's see if it holds up for him. Casey, thank you so much for the time, man.
Anytime, man. My pleasure.